understand by the term AI? What do you mean by the term AI as per your understanding, all of you? Please share your opinion on AI. So what do you understand? What do you think when you talk about AI? Okay, I got a response. System thinking like human. Okay, very good. So robotic intelligence plus deep learning equals AI. Okay. Mimicking human behavior. Very good. No need to hard code logic. Awesome. Very good. All implemented by maths. Okay. Replicating human activities to machines. Replicating human activities to machines. Okay. Giving human intelligence to machine. Okay. Good. So what is machine learning then? Then what is your intuition or your understanding on the term machine learning? Of course, I will share my ideas and opinions later, but I want you all to share your opinion. So machine learning, machine learned by itself, okay. Easy process of work without logical implementation, okay. Subset of AI, very good, Anthony. Teaching machine to work as per our requirement, learning from past statistics, give instructions to machine to analyze the data, learn from data. Okay, fine. Okay, so basically in this chapter we'll be discussing about AI and like understanding the relationship with the data. We'll be talking about machine learning. So see, first thing first, let me just give you a little glance on how all these things started. Let me tell you, the field of AI is there since 1913, 1-3. Okay, it's that old concept, to be frank. There was a time when people actually predicted, like there will be a situation where machines will be able to think like humans. So, it all started from, way long back. But now it gained that momentum. If you see the current market, since last 6 years, you may observe that AI and machine learning is getting a deep momentum in the exact market. Okay, now people are understanding the benefit of machine learning. Now people are witnessing the benefit of AI. So what is the driving factor behind the AI and machine learning? The driving factor was big data, the revolution of big data. So if you ask me in general, so basically, like it all started when people started sharing data to the community. So, like we have social media, one example. In the social media, we always share our information, right? We share our data, like where are we right now? What movie I'm watching right now? And, like whether this restaurant gives me this good service or a bad service and what we think about the given movie. So basically, we we are in a stage where we are facing something called as data explosion. We are having lots and lots of data. Now, the challenge is to extract some meaningful information out of the data. So this challenge was there, I think, 7 years back. So at that time, people were trying to use some techniques, some tools through which they can get some meaningful information out of the data. Let's assume for a moment, I have your social media data. Based on the social media data, what benefit can I gain to an advertising company? What benefit I can give to Samsung? What benefit I can give to Flipkart? So people were trying to understand how to extract information and what kind of information can be extracted and how that information can generate revenue or how that information can help understand the customer, let's say. So it all started with big data. It all started with data explosion. So as and when the data got increased, people started appreciating the concept of AI and machine learning. Let me tell you, AI and machine learning was there even before the independence of India. But to be frank, AI and machine learning got momentum since last 6 years. So let's try to understand and like what exactly is AI. So most of you already answered the question, by the way. So I mean, yes, you all are correct in terms of AI, but if I want to put it in a nutshell, I would say, AI is more like, it's a vast domain actually. Okay, AI itself is considered to be a domain of of generating and getting intelligence out of the data. I would say, generating and getting intelligence out of the data. So, uh, as you can understand, see, AI is purely a superset. Within the AI, we have something called as machine learning. And within the machine learning, we have something called as deep learning. So there are three things that you need to understand. First thing first is AI. So AI in general is all about generating and discovering intelligent information out of the data. I repeat, generating and discovering intelligent information out of the data. Okay? So, short and sweet. See, why I'm using the term generating. See, there is a possibility that based on what data I get, I can generate some new information also. Okay. For example, let's say, I mean just assumption. Let's say I'm interested to watch television. I am based out of Chennai. Okay. So based on that, one information that I can generate is this guy will be more interested to buy a stabilizer. Why? Because in Chennai there are a lot of power cuts. Okay. So basically we are talking about AI here. So AI in general sense is all about gaining intelligence out of your big data. So remember, the base for AI is your data itself. So you should be aware of how to deal with small amount or large amount of data, how to do data pre-processing, what kind of algorithm is best to deal with the data. So, like AI and data scientists, these are the two fields that come hand in hand. So data science is all about, understanding the data and more about making your data compatible to your machine learning algorithm. And machine learning is all about understanding which algorithm can give you the best result. I repeat, understanding which algorithm can give you the best result. Okay, so this is a little intuition in terms of introduction to make you understand what is AI. Let me just see the questions. I think I missed out some questions here. So Khaiti Gupta says, what's going on? I'm new here. Okay, so basically we were discussing about AI. It's just an introduction to AI. So don't worry, whatever you missed, you will be able to access to the recordings. Okay, so short and sweet AI, this is the formal definition of AI. So it refers to intelligence displayed by machines that stimulates human and animal intelligence. Okay, so that's the basics of AI. So AI in practice, if you ask me, see, these are some of the applications of AI. Most of you are aware of these applications, I guess. Self-driving cars, something which is very famous right now in market. And then Siri is there, Cortana is there, where we are just doing speech recognition internally. So basically, whatever you say, Siri understands your information, and based on that, she will respond with the appropriate resolutions. So is aircraft autopilot is AI? Not exactly, Prabal. Aircraft autopilot is not AI. Okay, because that's a hard-coded program, and something hard-coded is not AI. Okay. So next thing is Google's AlphaGo is another example. So basically, there's a game called Go. So Google has created a AI brain called AlphaGo, which actually was able to successfully defeat a human being while to the champion. Similarly, implementing AI in chess. So that's another example. Okay, so there are lots and lots of examples in terms of AI. Most of the examples that you observe in our day-to-day life is something where input is a speech or input is an image. So most of the time to deal with this kind of data, we use deep learning. So remember, AI is a huge subset, a huge superset basically. Inside that AI, we have some subsets like machine learning and deep learning. Okay, so whenever we talk about a pure unstructured data, I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of the term unstructured data. So, like something like images, videos, okay, data from sensors, all these kind of things, your IoT based data. So to deal with these kind of data, we use deep learning. We use something called as neural networks, artificial neural networks. To deal with, semi-structured and structured data, for example, database related data, something in tabular form, your Excel sheet data, data in XML format, data in JSON format, we can use machine learning. Okay, so machine learning is something which is quite helpful if you're dealing with structured and semi-structured data. But if you want to deal with unstructured data like image recognition, facial recognition, image segmentation, for these kind of use cases, you can go ahead and you can use the concept of deep learning. So one of the basic application that you see in your day-to-day life in terms of AI is your Amazon's recommendation engine. So as you can see here, if you're carting any product in your in Amazon's cart, you will observe that Amazon will go ahead and give you some recommendations. So customer who has bought Origin, a novel, also bought these novels, let's say. Okay, so basically this is once again this is an example of a machine learning. So where actually he's trying to depict something called as recommendation systems. So I got a question here. Structured data is wrangled by human. Is analyzing based on structured data equals AI? So it's a part of AI. So basically see, AI has lots and lots of subset. One of them is machine learning. Okay, so the one which you are referring to, I'm not referring to SQL by the way. Okay, so that's purely data wrangling. The next stage of data wrangling can be machine learning to answer your query. Okay, so yeah, so as you can see, this is another example basically. So where actually we are talking about the recommendation systems. So yes, recommendation systems can be implemented by machine learning. That's one use case. So what exactly is machine learning? So as I said, all of you, by seeing this diagram, I hope most of you can understand what I was trying to express till now. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Okay, so machine learning basically in general is all about extracting knowledge from the data. Please understand, see, there are two ways you can give intelligence to your programs. Number one is you hard code the intelligence. So you can generally use a if-else statement. That's a basic example. You can write a if-else statement to create your decision making within the program. That's option one. Option two is let the machine learning algorithms extract the knowledge from your data, understand the data, understand the behavior of the data, and give you a program. Okay, so remember, machine learning is all about extracting knowledge from the data. That's it. Remember, you're not hard coding the knowledge. The knowledge is extracted. The knowledge is discovered from the data. So you never know. Sometimes as a human, we may not discover some intelligence out of those data, which will be discovered by your algorithm. Okay, so that's the relationship between AI and ML. Remember, ML is ideally used in a situations where your data is a structured or a semi-structured data. I hope everybody is understanding the term structured and semi-structured. No doubts on this part. If you have any, please ask me. Please ensure that you don't leave any question unattended. Okay, so I'm talking about machine learning, in which what I was trying to tell you was, I'll say, it's all about extracting, I'll just full screen this, yeah, knowledge from the data. Okay, short and sweet, see, I was trying to indirectly describe the types of data that you encounter generally. Okay, the types of data in terms of big data, okay, in terms of big data domain, if you ask me, is three types. So I'll be attending the questions later once I complete this part. So please be patient on the question answer round. Yeah. So basically, if you ask me types of data in terms of big data domain or types of data that you encounter in your day-to-day life, I would say The given data can be the structured data, number one. Then it can be semi-structured data. And the third is unstructured data. Okay. So an example for structured data should be, I would say, any data which is there in your RDBMS. So anything in tabular form, systematic approach. All in text, however, is stored in RDBMS. That can be an example of structured data. Your CSV file can be another example. Any delimited files, two-dimensional data, rows and columns. I hope everybody is understanding the structured data. Those who had any doubts on this layer. Semi-structured example would be any data in XML form or maybe in JSON form. Okay. So basically, see, this is how your structured data looks. Everybody knows the basic example of employee table, if I'm not wrong. So we have EID and let's say we have ename. So these are the two columns available. So one, let's say Shant. So this is one record in your table. If I want to represent this data in semi-structured form, let's say JSON. So the data will be something like this. So I will have a file called employee.json, let's say, in which I will have one record represented in curly brackets. I will have something called as EID. So something like this, colon, let's say 1, comma, ename, colon, Prashant. So this kind of data representation is called JSON representation. Okay. So where in your curly brackets your data has been stored, your records have been stored. So this is an example of the semi-structured data, the one which you're observing. Okay. Then we have the unstructured data. So data which has no structure in general. So basically, as an example, your images, your video, maybe I can say IoT based data. Okay, your health monitoring data, your graph, all these things comes under unstructured data. So remember, machine learning is all about dealing, I would say here in a very general sense, I'll say it's all about dealing with structured and semi-structured data. Okay, and thanks for the information, Prabal. Yes, you're right. Your normal text file is also an unstructured data. Okay, a normal txt file which has some random sentences, which has no structure, is the unstructured data. I hope everybody got an intuition here. Everybody's understanding this part clear up till now. Please confirm. Thank you. Great. Is chatbot is ML? Prabal question. Prabal has the question regarding the chatbot. So see, chatbot comes under actually, to be more specific, it comes under deep learning, chatbots and all. Okay. To be more specific, it comes under reinforcement learning. Okay. Now, we'll discuss what is reinforcement and all. Don't worry about that. But ideally, it doesn't come under machine learning category. Now, so basically, when we talk about machine learning, I'll say it's all about extracting knowledge from the data, and it's all about dealing with structured and semi-structured data. So as you can see here, yes, this was the approach. We have the base superset, that is artificial intelligence, in which we have a subset called machine learning. And remember, within this, we have one more subset, and that subset is your deep learning. Okay, consider this yellow circle as deep learning. Think in that perspective. Okay, so deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So why it's a subset of machine learning? Because this subset, I would say, deal with unstructured data. This is for unstructured data. This is for structured and semi-structured data. Okay, so this together constitute your AI? I would say I mean, in a very general sense, if you ask me, I would put it something like this in front of you. Okay? So machine learning doesn't deal with unstructured data. So Priyavrat, I guess the diagram gives you a little understanding. It indirectly deals, but using deep learning techniques. Okay, it indirectly deals, but machine learning in general was not designed to deal with unstructured data. It was only designed to deal with structured and semi-structured data. I hope everybody got the intuition here. What are the other subsets of AI? You know, right from data pre-processing to data wrangling, even your SQL, all those things comes under the AI only. Trouble. Okay, what I'm right now focusing is the ML part. Or to be more precise, this course is dealing with the ML part. So even your normal SQL query, even your normal Excel formulas and implementations of Excel formulas, that creation of graph or maybe conversion from one form to another, all these things actually comes under AI indirectly actually, but those things comes under some data wrangling. So there's another subset data wrangling. There's another subset called visualization. You know, technically it comes on AI, and AI is expanding. There are new techniques coming in market. There are new techniques. There are new methods that's been discovered in market, that's been introduced in market by our mathematicians. So this circle will increase day by day. I would say something like that. Okay, so this was the basic intuition in ML. I'm pretty sure pretty clear understanding what is AI and ML. Okay, and sorry I didn't took an introduction about you. Maybe once I complete the session, I'll take a brief introduction about you to understand what are your area of expertise and all. For now, we'll just continue the flow. Now, let's talk about machine learning. So basically, I would say it's the capability of AI systems to learn by extracting patterns from the data. So like how I mentioned in my notepad, in a very general sense, I told you extracting knowledge from data, but in this PPT, they've given you more specific definition talking about the capability of AI system to learn by extracting patterns from the data. Okay, so that's the basic definition of machine learning. So what are the basic features of machine learning? So basically you can see here machine learning is computing intensive. So basically remember, first of all, machine learning and mathematics are closely related. Okay, and if you want to deal with large amount of data, and if you want to generate a formula, basically you have a highly compute environment. You must have high amount of CPU, high amount of RAM. Okay, because there are a lot of ALU operations that happen at the back end to understand or basically to extract the knowledge from the data. So it involves lot of repetitive training to improve the learning process and decision making process. So one of the basic example that you are aware that you use in everyday life is your email spam assassination. So like Google segregates your mail as spam and not spam, and if the data is not spam, it segregates it as primary social updates and like promotions. So that's one of the examples. So Google every day is trying to understand your data based on individual users perspective. For example, my mail may be a spam to a user 1, but for user 2 my mail is not a spam. So like making more intelligent based on users need, that is something Google is doing, and internally they uses machine learning techniques only. Okay, it uses machine learning techniques only, but finally they made it so intelligent that they can segregate they can maintain different rules for different users, something like that. So I got a question here from Arjun. Is statistics a prerequisite to ML? Arjun, to be frank, yes. Okay, you must have little statistics knowledge because that will help you to understand the algorithms. Because if you understand the algorithm, then only you can intuit whether the given algorithm is good for the given use case or not. So yes, statistics is essential. But basic statistics. I'm not expecting you all to be a master in statistics and all. Okay, fine. Okay, so let me just give you some idea before I proceed further with the PPT. Let me just give you a little more intuition on the machine learning part. First of all, when we talk about machine learning roles, there are two kinds of roles that you see in market. Let me just save this notepad quickly. Basically in market, if you observe, in Indian market and also in US market, I'm pretty sure about these two markets, we have two roles. One is your ML developer role, and second one is the data scientist role. Okay, so basically when it comes to ML developer role, I would say you can perform your development activities for machine learning either by using Python or by using R or by using Java. Okay, so these are the three programming languages quite famous in the world of machine learning development. And the basic role for any machine learning developer obviously would be, first of all, to code. You all can understand this, okay? Second is, we generally create a model. So model means basically a program which is generated by extracting knowledge from the data. Okay, so we'll discuss what is a model in detail later. Basically, that's what is our hands-on creation of models. The next thing is, what you do is you evaluate the model based on instructions provided by data scientist. The next thing what you do is you follow the hyperparameters, or basically what are hyperparameters? If you ask me, I would say these are the, tuning parameters which can fine-tune your model, which can help improvise learning technique in the model, something like that. Okay, and these hyperparameters are provided by data scientists once again. Then I would say your role is once again to deploy the model. The ML developer is the one who is actually responsible to deploy the model and also do incremental learning if applicable. Now, if you see this entire role, this is your actual role as a machine learning developer. Let me be very frank. That's why this course, the one which you are attending right now, is designed keeping in mind, prepare you to become a machine learning developer. Okay, all of you? So when people hear the term developer, people often think you need to code a lot. No, it's not about coding a lot or something, okay? Machine learning developers are those developers who understand the algorithm, who understand how to relate your data with the algorithm, who understand how to implement algorithms from different packages, who understands how to deploy the model. Okay, they are the one who does this work. So yeah, we will discuss what is incremental learning. Please put that question, please park that question. I'll get back to you on that. The next thing is about the data scientist role. Now this is something which is quite, I would say, one of the very famous roles available in market. So ideally, the very first role of the data scientist is, I would say, to mold and recreate the algorithm for machine learning. So let me be very frank. I know a lot of data scientists who actually create their own algorithm for recommendation engine. Now, when I say their own algorithm, of course, they are not creating algorithms from scratch. Okay, they are using the existing algorithms, but they are adding some improvisation parameters based on your domain knowledge. Okay, so yes, Vimal, you're right. Okay, so see, the basic role of data scientist is to create some improvisation on your existing algorithm. Let me tell you one basic example. See, linear regression is one example of supervised learning, obviously one of the machine learning algorithm. Using linear regression, I can do predictions. Okay, so if you want to create a program that can predict predict the outcome based on some input, let's say, who want to predict some outcome based on some inputs. So in that case, we use linear regression. The role of data scientist, one of the role of data scientist is to improvise the linear regression algorithm specific to your use case. So I mean, this is something which is quite challenging, by the way, okay? So they actually create the algorithm, they create the workflow in such a way that developers will re-implement linear regression. And I see this in my real market. I see this in my offices actually. Okay, we do these kind of work. I assign these kind of tasks to my fellow developers. That's what I do. Okay. The next thing would be, next role, I would say, would be provide suggestions. I would say provide suggestions on which algo should be used for given use case. Sorry. So basically, see, data scientist is the one who interacts with the stakeholders, who interacts with the customer, who goes for the requirement meeting, who goes for the elicitation meeting, who understands the need of customer, who does the initial research. So basically, he is the one who understands the actual, requirement given by the customer. Okay. So basically, it is the role of data scientist to provide suggestions on which algorithm can be best suited for the given use case. The next thing is, remember, data scientist is an expert in domain knowledge. Now see, if you ask my credentials in terms of data scientist, I'm an expert in medical domain. I'm an expert in finance domain because I have worked on it, okay, personally, and in retail domain. I have worked on a lot of e-commerce websites, including Amazon, for the recommendations, creation, for customer segmentations, lot of things. Okay, so domain knowledge means something related to domain. Okay, you may know that most of you, I don't know your backgrounds, we'll discuss your backgrounds at the end of the session, but some of you who are from finance background may go for some dedicated examinations, even though we are in IT. I hope you understand that, right? We go for some, I don't know, that there is some certification. Even for mutual funds, there is a certification. So we go for that to understand domain in a better way, even though we are programmers or even though we are project managers. We do that, right? So why we are trying to do that? Because we are trying to gain more domain knowledge. Remember, data scientists are those people who are expert in domain knowledge so that they can use the same technical jargon in front of their customers. They can understand the technical jargon received from the customers. Okay? So this is the another role. Of course, every data scientist is a ML developer. Okay, and this is the assumption actually. Most of the time I see that most of the data scientists are actually ML developers. Okay, and finally, I would say, they have good knowledge in terms of presentation. They have good knowledge in terms of presentation. So they can express themselves. Okay, so basically, let's assume for a moment, let's say for a moment, my customer has lots of data. Okay, let's assume my customer is an e-commerce website. Let's assume. Okay, now what my customer is saying is he have lot of customer database where he has the spending patterns. So what he want to do is he want me as a data scientist to identify some hidden knowledge within the data, or basically to identify the customer's likes and dislikes, or the customer interest and disinterest, and segregate those customers where we can perform some marketing, let's say. So my role in this case would be to get the data, extract some knowledge out of the data, and whatever knowledge I extracted, based on that, present that knowledge in front of business officials, or present that knowledge in front of those stakeholders. Okay, so Remember, finally, you should be good in presentation, because when you present in front of your stakeholders, you cannot expect the stakeholders to have the technical knowledge. So it's obvious you cannot always use your technical jargon. And last but not the least, very important, you should speak what based on your data speaks, not what based on the engineers speak. For example, let me tell you, in my experience, whenever I take data from the stakeholders, the marketing experts comes in front of me and says, okay, this was a strategy we used and we gained so many sales. This was a strategy we used and we gained a lot of customers. So I always keep my ears shut, to be frank, because I don't want to know what is happening in the company based on what marketing people says. I want to understand what is happening in the company based on the data, because data will never lie to me. Maybe the marketing guys may lie to me. Okay, so the point is the role of data scientist is way more beyond the role of a developer. Okay, I hope I am able to give you a good intuition on what's happening in market and what is the role of data scientist and ML developer, all of you. Are you all understanding this part? Everybody is with me? Great. See, if you are getting lost, please ensure you stop me in between, okay? Thank you. Great. So now, just to give you, just from the day one, let me give you a little bit intuition. This course is all about making you a ML developer. Now, please don't get scared by hearing the term developer if you're not a developer. See, I am not here to make hardcore you the things, okay? I'm not here to make you hardcore. You should have the intuition of a data scientist. But moreover, you will be working on the development. Let me tell you, if you are starting your career as a AI expert, even though if you have 20 years experience, let's say, you will be initially appointed as a ML developer. You will never be appointed as a data scientist, even though you have 20 years of domain expertise. Okay, that's the current market situation. So the context what I want to share you here is, you will be a ML developer, number one. Let me just see, I think somebody got unmuted accidentally. So I can hear some background noise. Just give me a moment, all of you. Deshdeep, can you please check at the back end who is unmuted, because I'm not sure, I'm not able to see from here. Thank you. Okay, question from Priyavrat. Are we able to get this text file? Okay, yeah, this notepad will be shared in the community link, Priyavrat. So once I complete the session, I'll save this notepad, I will upload it in the community. Is there another path to become data scientist without becoming a machine learning developer? Ayan, like I say, data scientist itself is a machine learning developer. So bypassing that would be a danger to your career. I mean, that still depends on how you take your career, okay? But still, I mean, that's what I see most of the time. But yes, like I say, if you're a domain expert, then yes, you are in demand. If you're a domain expert and if you can theoretically create an algorithm, then yes, that can be another role or that can be another path. So it is very hard to be both subject matter expert and domain as well as strong statistic machine learning background. That's what TATCONG, that's what I'm trying to express here. See, ideally your role will be a ML developer. Later you will be a data scientist. So basically it is expected that you should improvise during that phase. Okay, now you cannot be expert. Even let me tell you, I am not an expert in all domains. Like I said, I am only expert in retail, finance and healthcare. I mean, to be exact, medical, not even exact healthcare also. But there are a lot of domains available in market. So I am a data scientist only on these three domains. You understanding my point? Are you getting my point? So I am a data scientist, but not for all the domains in the market. And similarly, I am an okay developer. I'm not that expert developer also, if you ask me in general. No, I don't have even an ABC of construction also, Vimal. That's what I'm saying. If you ask me to go to a construction domain and do some analytics over that, let me tell you, I will not do any development. For the first 2 to 3 months, I'll just try to understand what's happening in those domains. You understand? And that will be a waste of time for the company because company want immediate result. Oh, sorry, Vijay, because your name is quite confusing. Okay, so I hope you got the intuition, right? What I'm trying to express, all of you? So see, that's what I'm saying. Company want immediate result. Company cannot wait for you to first understand the domain and then give the suggestions, obviously. Okay. So see, wherever I visit, I am a consultant. I visit only retail related companies or like healthcare and finance related companies. Not even insurance. I'm bad at that, by the way. But yes, last but not the least, you cannot be the master of everything, but slowly and gradually you should be the master. That is the expectation of our market. And we need to sustain we need to survive in our market. I hope that makes clear. Okay. So this is just a basic role, all of you. So any questions regarding this, feel free to ask. Any questions, any inputs, any suggestions, anything that you want to share, please share. Does data mining tools play any role in ML? Yes, of course, Kishore. In fact, data mining is a subset of ML. Think in that way now, Kishore. All the data mining techniques that you have learned may be used in SAS or maybe used in Excel. You will be repeating the same in ML also. Not money-wise, career way, which is on demand. Actually, both have equal demand to be exact, Vijay. But let me tell you, the most demanding role right now in US is data scientist, but in India, I see it's ML developer. Domain-wise, if you ask me, I see more over finance, insurance, and healthcare. These are the three core domains that I see which is in high demand in terms of, this thing, the data science and machine learning. Because of the fact that there are way less people who are expert in that. Because most of the people are expert in retail. So retail, I mean, there are a lot of guys. But if you ask me for insurance and if you ask me for healthcare, there are very less guys, I can say less data scientists who are expert in that. Yeah, security, see, let me tell you, security is not a domain actually for data science. Let me be very frank, Prabal. Okay, security is totally a different aspect. If you ask me in data science perspective, everywhere we are implementing security, everywhere we are following the security standards, Prabal. Okay, while we even extract the data, while we even take data from the clients, we follow the protocols of ISO 27001 just to ensure that the PII is not being shared. I hope you are understanding my terms, right, Prabal? Yeah. So, yeah, okay. What is the future scope of ML? Future scope. So basically, see, every ML developer is expected to know deep learning techniques, neural networks, all those things. I mean, that can be one of the answer, Vinay. Let me tell you, this role and this responsibility, data scientist ML, let me tell you, for next 10 to 20 years, this will sustain in market. It's a very good investment. If you ask me in that sense, let's say, Vinay, okay? For next 10 to 20 years, this field will, will help you to sustain in the market. Okay, so any more questions or are we good? If you're good, just give me a quick reply with a yes. If you have any questions, you can raise your questions. Threat detection. Okay, threat detection ideally, comes on the domain. It doesn't come on security. It comes on integrity. I mean, integrity domain. Okay, fine. I mean, it's debatable. You can say it's security. Where ML is extensively used, Prabal, in almost all the domains now ML is being used. Let me be very frank, Prabal. Because of the evolution of big data, now ML is used everywhere. So I am a database BI big data architect. Will this course help me to start? Become an architect, data scientist with domains expertise? So Venkat Krishna, what is your domain? What is your domain? Your domain expert in which field, basically? Is it mandatory to know big data to become a good data scientist? Okay. To answer first Venkat Krishna's question, see, you're a domain expert in healthcare, so basically you have a great demand. Let me tell you. Okay, you can easily become a data scientist. First of all, let me tell you, I am a solution architect. By the way, I am a big data solution architect. I turned into data scientist. So that's my story. Okay. So yes, you have a great scope. Is it mandatory to know big data to become a good data scientist? Not exactly, Pratap. Pratap, see, big data knowledge and all is useful for the development people, not development and deployment guys, not for the data scientists. As you see here, see, they are the one who recreate the algorithm. Scaling of data, scaling of algorithm, scaling of processing speed is not the part of data science role, to be frank. I hope you are getting my point, right? But yes, a little knowledge on big data really helps, but not at the heavy duty implementation level. But that's an add-on, by the way, if you have that knowledge. Because in India, if you ask me, if you are from India, let me be very frank. See, in India, people expect you to know 10 things. Then only you will be selected, right? They want you to work for 10 employees and they give you salary only for one employee. That's what is the expectation. So in that case, yes, you must have big data knowledge. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So now, I hope everybody is clear with this layer. So basically in this course, we will be discussing about how I'll be preparing you to become a ML developer. Okay, so guys, once again I'm telling you, those who are not from development background or those who are like fed up with the development background, because I'm pretty sure those who have started their career as an associate software engineer, they are fed up with development. Okay, so I am pretty sure and I understand that part. So let me tell you, when I use the word developer here, it's not like you need to do a lot of development tasks. Okay, moreover the codes are static in nature. Okay, but the thing is, your creativity really helps to understand and fine tune the hyperparameters. So we'll discuss those things later. So I am from India. My location is Mumbai, but yeah, I travel a lot, by the way. Okay. Next thing is, for this course, I will be using Python. Okay, so Python is as a base language. I'll be using Python as a base language for this course. Okay, so how many of you are not comfortable with Python? I mean, just give me a quick response in the chat. Those who are not aware of Python or not comfortable at all. Okay, okay, okay. No, basic is good. Basic is good. Anybody who is not at all totally zero in Python. That's what I was asking. So I can see Prabal, Dheeraj, Charan, Ayan, Kulashekar, Dheeraj, Abhishek, Ayan, Sanjay. Great, great. See, now next thing. Those who said they are completely zero in Python, out of them, who is not at all from IT background? Whoever is not from IT background, please respond. I mean, never did programming, never did development. Okay. Now, those who are not at all from IT background, okay, then in that case, what I recommend is, see, of course, take this, you have took this course,